I know that divine spirit is operating through me now. I know that I'm not limited by anything that's happened or by anything that is now happening. I am entering into an entirely new set of conditions. That which has no limit is flowing through my consciousness into action. And I'm guided by that same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination, which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. The words of Ernest Holmes, this thing called you. What are you? And what would you do today since you're brave? You're brave. I'm brave. And on that note, happy Pride. Yes. My name is Victor Garland Sorrell III. I am a powerful, expressive, and intuitive expression of love forever. My life's purpose is to teach creativity and love. And when I tell you that I'm brave, braver than I have ever been, I'm speaking the truth. I'm brave in this moment. And because I'm brave, I want to share something with you that you may not already know. You are creative. Take a breath. Yes, you're creative. By the mere nature of your ability to think, you're creative. You don't have to be a visual artist. You don't have to be a singer. You can be. But you're creative by the sheer nature of your being. And according to the Course in Miracles, which, by the way, is not a religion, but is a series of psycho-spiritual teachings aimed at helping us experience inner peace through the practice of forgiveness. According to the Course, there's no such thing as a neutral thought. So remember that we have creative thought, but not neutral thought. So in any given moment, we are either creating love or fear based on the thought we are holding in mind at that given time. A Course in Miracles also teaches us we can't think two thoughts at the same time. And so therefore, we must choose a miracle or a grievance. We can't have both. Just in case someone in the back didn't hear me, we must choose a grievance or a miracle. We can't have both. Because miracles occur naturally in the presence of love, and a grievance is a misperception rooted in fear. So anytime you have an experience of another person's guilt or your own guilt, guess what? Miscreation. Based in fear. But the option is always there to what? Shift to love. Shift to love. So knowing that, I want to tell you a story about a recent experience that I had to shift to love, honey. I mean fast. Okay? So here's the scenario. My good friend Jackie Wilson, who's sitting here in the front row, because she's a good friend, has been telling me for 3 years, you have got to come with me to a responsible living workshop. We're going to go out to this beautiful lake setting in Idaho. Idaho? What? I didn't even realize we still had Idaho. No offense to those beautiful folks that I met in Idaho. It's just when we're so far removed out here in our own little bubble, right? And it speaks to our existence of life. We get so bogged down into what's right in front of us that we forget the world is huge and potential is unlimited. It's an enormous world out there, and we are big enough and brave enough to be a part of it. But back to Idaho. I went to Idaho, and I'll tell you that this time I showed up at this workshop, now a Master's of Social Work student who has learned how to think critically. Exactly. Uh-oh is right. I also learned that when I am afraid and when I'm unsure of my surroundings, I get incredibly critical. So by the end of the first night, baby, I had graded everybody's paper. This is not right, this is not right, they're doing this, they shouldn't be doing that. This is not, and there's a discrepancy between what you have on the board on a principle and what you're actually showing me. I don't know what you want me to do with this. So, needless to say, I got very irritated. I got angry because this is not right. I had a grievance. And I was very justified in my grievance because I'm a critical thinker. And now, after 2 years in this master's program, I have earned the right. And so by the end of the night, this is the best part. By the end of the night, I went up to Jackie and I said, Jackie, you and I both know that my healing journey did not start here and it will not end here. However, I'm not sure that I'm staying here for the duration of this experience. And she said to me, well, okay. So I went to bed as mad as a bulldog with a mouthful of yellow jackets. My dad says that. Mad as a bulldog with a mouthful of yellow jackets, which is pretty mad when you think about it. That can't feel good. And I woke up the next morning and I was still pissed. Because all I could think of was these two grievances, these two things that were just... And, if it weren't for what she said and the way she said that, I could probably stay. So I came downstairs. I got dressed. I came downstairs. And the first thing that we were doing that second day of the workshop was a meditation. Thank God. So I had to lay down on my back and listen. And I wasn't in meditation for 30 seconds, and the voice said to me, what if you were just to forgive those grievances? What if nobody had to apologize to you? What if nobody had to acknowledge your struggle? Angel. What if you could just forgive and be here for the work that is yours to do today? How about that? Well, I've read enough Course in Miracles that I knew what the voice was. Fine. They are forgiven, I am forgiven, and all is well. Well, what ensued was one of the most powerful 48 hours of my life, because I chose to do what Reverend Denise talks about all the time, and that is drop the 18 inches from my head to my heart. It took work. It took work. It didn't happen like that. But by quieting that critic and refusing to judge anything that I saw, my heart opened and I was present for the work. And I had such a powerful transformative experience on that lake in Idaho that I went back in May for a 6-day experience. So I've now been to Idaho twice in the last 2 months. And I'm happy to report that it's beautiful and alive and well and thriving, and there are people in Idaho that know what love is. And they reminded me what love is. And something that I've also learned is that you can stray from love 94 times as long as you come back 95. That's all that matters. And I'm back. I'm back. So, knowing that these are our options, knowing that these are our opportunities, we realize then that really on the most fundamental level, we are only energy. But what a beautiful thing to be. For energy can be neither created nor destroyed, yet transformed. Who wants to talk about the power of transformation today? Yeah, that's right. I love the power of transformation. And I realize that what the power of transformation really means is we get to choose. We get to choose the experience we have. We get to choose who we are in this world. We get to choose how we walk out this life, in love or in fear, in miracles or in grievances. But we can't have both. But what does that mean? Well, first of all, it means that there's nothing out there opposing us. It's all in here. Crap. No worse place for it to be when you really think about it, right? But it's all in here, and and everything that we see out there is a projection of what we're creating through perception in here. A projection of what we're creating through perception. Stay with me. Now, we have the opportunity to be in love and to be supported by the universe just the way that an embryo is supported into a baby, right? Nobody needs to intervene. It just needs to be left to its process. But it's our stinking thinking, thank you, 12 steps, that often means we get in the way of that support that's really there for us so that our lives unfold and evolve just as seamlessly, just as easily, just as miraculously in the presence of love. Love that we choose to hold in thought. I've heard it said that that means making miracles welcome. We can't actually of ourselves make the miracle, but we can make them welcome by means of choosing loving perception and holding our focus there. Another thing it means is that we have nothing better to be than to be brave. Nothing better to be than to be brave. Now, I love words, so I'm going to share with you this definition. Brave, having or showing mental or moral strength to face danger, fear, or difficulty. Having or showing courage. Now, Maya Angelou taught us that courage is the most important of all the virtues. Without courage, we wouldn't have the strength or the ability to practice the others. So in my mind, being brave means the action of courage. Bravery is having the courage and walking it out. Bravery does not mean an absence of fear, mind you. Bravery means being afraid, aligning with love, and doing it anyway. Being afraid, aligning with love, and doing it anyway. That's brave. Now, most of the time, doing is what we do best. Think about it. Always in motion. Anybody like me? Anybody need to have several seats? Isn't it interesting that we do and do and do and do until it's time to become brave, and then we're looking for a stool? Because what I really need to do is just have a seat back here so that nobody sees me, because I'm not going to be brave today. I'm fine to be quiet, to be invisible when it's time to be brave. Why is that? Why are we so readily willing to be quiet when it's time to be brave? To be small when it's time to be big, a time such as this on planet Earth, my family, time is now. The time is now. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You, beloved, are a child of God. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. I'm going to read that again because I need to make sure that I heard it. There is nothing enlightening or enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us, and it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. As we allow ourselves to let fear fall away and entertain love, we are the light no matter where we are. By the way, most of you probably know those are the words of Marianne Williamson from A Return to Love. So why is it that our deepest fear is our power? Well, when I think about the ego, in addition to keeping us alive, the ego's job is also to keep us unaware of our power, to keep us willing to continually give our power away, to sit down when it's time to be brave. The ego is responsible for that. And so when it comes to one of the most bravest things we can do in the world, the ego is often in charge. And what is that thing? Fortunately, we're at this church, so we can say the F word. Forgive. My favorite F word, believe it or not, most of the time. Forgive. The bravest thing we can do today is forgive. Ourselves first, and all else. And why is that? Because it's brave to allow ourselves to shed all the psychic weight. And forgiveness enables us to do that. Through forgiveness, we're born again. We're made new. And you know, it's kind of scary in a sense, especially to the ego. That's a lot of responsibility to be pure light, to be pure power, to be pure potential, and it's all up to me what I do with it. It takes bravery to forgive. And our ego will use the ends of the earth to convince us of why they don't deserve our forgiveness. Why we shouldn't just let them off the hook. We can't let people just walk over us like that. Now, come on. Surely I've got a couple of other critical thinkers in the room. We can't just be that weak. Oh, the ego. The ego is suspicious at best and vicious at worst. Suspicious at best and vicious at worst. And the ego will hold us in contempt and keep us holding others in contempt as long as we will allow it. Yes, our whole lives, if we so choose. If we stay in contempt and negativity all of our lives, it probably won't be a very long life. But then again, we see examples of people who are killing it at 90. Mad as hell. I don't want that to be me. I don't want that to be me. So I'm going to be brave enough to forgive and to keep forgiving. And I challenge you to do the same. A Course in Miracles teaches us we're able to miscreate, but not limit the power of our minds. In other words, we are powerful whether we want to embrace that or not. We will create, no matter whether it is love or fear. We will squirt out sideways, no matter whether it's sunshine or poison. It all depends on what's inside. And guess who gets to choose what's inside? Yeah. That's the power of responsibility. That's the importance of responsibility. When I take 100% responsibility for the energy I bring into this space, what does that mean? It means I better show up prayed up. I better come correct. If I really want to make a difference in the world, if I want to be the change that I want to see in the world, then that means I need to do my work. And I need to stay current with my work, and that's an important point we're going to come back to, is staying current. That's something else I've learned recently. I had a Zoom call last evening with a wonderful friend of mine. Over 15 years now. We met when we were working together in HIV and many years ago. And she was telling me a story. She recently inherited and moved into her parents' home. It's a big old home, and it's a lot to keep up with. And she was telling me that she went out for a walk yesterday morning, and she said, the damn weeds grew overnight. How does this happen? And she said, but I got busy. She said, I got in there, and I was pulling those weeds with all I had. And she said, I was into it. And she said, you'll never guess. I got under those weeds, and there were these beautiful hostas that I had no idea were there. No idea. And she said, and then I started thinking, what is going on in my consciousness that I needed to be pulling weeds today? What weeds are still being allowed to overgrow in my consciousness? And I said, well, you know, Barbara, interestingly enough, I'm speaking tomorrow, and I would say that it's forgiveness. It's the things that you haven't forgiven. It's the resentments. It's the grudges. Those are the weeds. And she said, yeah, I see that. And the flowers that are ours to savor when we remove the weeds, radiant health is a flower. Peace of mind is a flower. Relationships that work all the time, especially in conflict. This is the last thing I'm going to repeat today, but it's a really important one. Relationships that work all the time, especially in conflict. Those are the flowers. Those are the flowers. The grievances are the weeds. And she said, you know, here's what I'm going to do. She said, I'm not going to let it get that way anymore. I'm going to make a pact with myself, and I'm going to weed that flower bed every day. Because, you know, it's just 2 or 3 weeds if you weed on a daily basis. And it doesn't get overgrown, and then I can still enjoy my flowers all summer. And I said, you know, that reminds me of staying current with how we feel. When I'm current about what I'm feeling at any given moment, then I'm much more apt to know what I need to forgive today so that I don't lose sight of my flowers. Because you know what? We deserve our flowers. Come on, y'all. We've worked hard for our flowers. Yeah, I love flowers, don't you? Of course. But the other part to this message that I'm going to leave you with is that it's not just about your flowers. The opportunity is weeding your garden through forgiveness to the point that you can have your flowers and share them with the world. Because here's the deal. We live at a time where love is really the only thing we need. It's really the only thing we need. We have all the other stuff. We can fly to Idaho in 4 hours. Pew. Yep. We can have something delivered from Amazon in seven hours. Sometimes less, depending on where we live, right? Love is the only thing that only we can do. AI cannot do love yet. Be interesting. But I'm more of the belief that love is only an inside job. And it must happen inside in order to be shared outside. This morning when I first got here, a gentleman shared with me that the last time I spoke at CSL, he said, you know, when you were up there on that stage speaking, I had an epiphany. He said, no, it didn't have anything to do with what you said. He said, but I got a piece of my blueprint of how I'm supposed to contribute to the lovelessness of the world. And I said, there is no better anything that I could ever hear as a speaker. I don't care what I was saying, and I don't care if you heard it. If you got your piece of the blueprint or an important piece of the blueprint, because we were all in that space and we were focused on the truth and we were entertaining the truth, we were allowing the truth, direct download. That means everything to me. And it could mean everything to us. Abraham Hicks says 17 minutes a day focusing on the truth will enable you to be in a frequency where you are available for what the divine has for you. 17 minutes. You can do it while you pull weeds. 17 minutes. Think about love. I'm going to leave you with these words. I always do because I believe it to the depth of my toenails. It is not naive to believe that love must become our bottom line. What is naive is believing our species can survive another 200 years if it does not. Namaste.
Welcome to the Sunday service at CSLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs.